Stories by Fatimah. Season 2, Episode 2, Nightmare. Rebel was a young teenage girl who lived with her parents and one-year-old brother Ivan. It was Monday morning and Rebel prepared to go to high school. When she arrived, her friend Cameron, who had already arrived, waved and walked up to her. "Hey Cameron, what's up?" asked Rebel. "Hey Rebel, Lucas, Yang and I are going to have a short basketball competition during the lunch break. Do you want to join?" asked Cameron. "Sure, see you then," replied Rebel. Rebel headed to her maths class. As she was walking, her friend Tabitha tapped her shoulder. "Hey Rebel," said Tabitha. "Hey Tabitha," said Rebel. "Are you playing basketball again during lunch?" said Tabitha. "Yes, I sure am," replied Rebel. "I'm coming to watch. Maybe this time Lucas and Cameron will win," said Tabitha. "Me and Yang are the best team. We're going to win like we always do," said Rebel. "Guess we'll find out soon," replied Tabitha. After Rebel's maths class, she put on her sports shoes and went to play. Yang, Cameron, Lucas, and Tabitha arrived shortly later. "Okay, let's play," shouted Lucas in a challenging tone. They all began to play. "I'm passing it to you," said Yang. Yang threw the ball to Rebel and she jumped as high as she could and dunked the ball into the hoop. "Yes, we got a point," said Rebel. Yang and Rebel won the next few rounds, but Cameron and Lucas started to catch up and it became the final round. "Whoever wins the last round is the new champion," said Lucas. Rebel started to dribble with the ball, but Lucas stole the ball from her. "Quickly, Yang, steal the ball from him," shouted Rebel. Yang quickly stole the ball from Lucas and threw it to Rebel. Rebel was about to catch it when Cameron was trying to grab it at the same time. Cameron accidentally pushed Rebel to the ground and her head hit the cement. Rebel was on the ground and she couldn't keep her eyes open. They all ran to see if she was okay, but she was hurt quite badly and her head was bruised. "Quickly, we need to get her to the doctor," shouted Yang. They all picked up Rebel and rushed her to the school's emergency room. Rebel was dizzy and all she could see were her friends' blurry faces. Finally, her eyes started closing and she fainted. When she woke up, she found herself in a hospital. She opened her eyes slightly and saw a nurse taking her temperature. "Oh my God, she's awake," said the nurse. The nurse then called the doctor in and the doctor started to examine her. "Doctor, what happened?" asked Rebel. "You had suffered from a really bad head injury and you've been in a coma ever since," said the doctor. "How long have I been out?" asked Rebel. "I'm sorry to tell you, but you've been in a coma for 6 years," said the nurse. "What? 6 years?" shouted Rebel. Rebel then started asking questions about how she fell into a coma. "Everything will be explained soon, but for now you should calm down," said the doctor. The doctor later started to tell her about everything that had happened. "After you hit your head on the cement, your friends brought you to the hospital," explained the doctor. "What about my parents? They were told about me, right?" asked Rebel. "The original doctor that took care of you had called them, but on the way to the hospital," paused the doctor. "What happened?" asked Rebel. "They got into a terrible car accident," replied the doctor. Tears slowly began to pour from Rebel's eyes. "And my brother was with them?" asked Rebel. "Fortunately, he wasn't hurt," replied the doctor. "Where is he?" asked Rebel. "He got sent to an orphanage after the accident since there were no other family members to take care of him," replied the doctor. The entire night, Rebel was crying and feeling guilty. She believed it was her fault and if she had been more careful, nothing bad would have happened. After a few weeks, Rebel was out of the hospital. She was now 20 years old. Rebel used some of the money she had received from her parents' will to find herself a place to live. She ended up staying in a small apartment. The next thing she did was try to find out which orphanage her brother Ivan was sent to. "Most orphans in this town get sent to the Redwood orphanage," thought Rebel to herself. The next day, she went to visit the Redwood orphanage. She talked to the staff and found out that Ivan was sent to that orphanage. "Could I please see him? He's my brother," said Rebel to one of the staff. "Of course," said the staff. The organizer took Rebel to Ivan. The organizer opened the room door where Ivan was staying and she saw him playing with some kids. Ivan was now 7 years old. "Oh my God, Ivan, you've grown up so much," said Rebel. "Mrs. Miller, who's this?" asked Ivan. "You won't remember me, but I'm your sister, Rebel." "My sister?" said Ivan confusingly. "It's true, she is," said Mrs. Miller. Rebel walked to Ivan and gave him a hug. "Are you here to adopt me?" asked Ivan. "Yes, I am," replied Rebel. Rebel adopted Ivan and took him home with her to the apartment. At home, Rebel and her brother cooked dinner for the both of them, and they sat down and talked about their lives. Rebel, what happened to our parents and why haven't you been with me all these years? Asked Ivan. Well, the reason I couldn't come for you sooner was because I've been in a coma for 6 years now and I didn't even know before a few weeks ago, said Rebel. 6 years? How did that happen? Asked Ivan. It all happened suddenly when I was playing basketball, replied Rebel. What about our mom and dad? Asked Ivan. They were in a car accident. They are no longer with us, said Rebel. The next day, Rebel went looking for a job and she ended up working at a restaurant. It won't get much money, but it'll do for now, thought Rebel to herself. One night, Rebel picked up Ivan from school and was walking home from work late at night. When they got home, she realized that there wasn't enough food left in the fridge for dinner. Rebel, I'm hungry. Can we have dinner? Asked Ivan. The only thing left here is some grapes and bread. Sorry, said Rebel. It's okay, it'll be enough, said Ivan. The next day, Rebel went to buy more food but could only afford a few items because the money from her job wasn't enough. As she was looking around in the store, she saw a man following her around everywhere she went. She tried to avoid him, but he wasn't going away. After she bought her food, she walked out of the store and the man ran towards her and grabbed her arm. Hey, let go of me, yelled Rebel. She ran as fast as she could, but the man caught up to her and tackled her to the ground. The next thing he did was grab the bag with the food in it. He was about to run away when Rebel grabbed his leg and he fell to the ground. She then took her bag and ran away as far as she could. She then opened her bag to see if all her items were there, but most of the food was gone and she didn't have any more money to get more. She later went to work and picked up Ivan from school again. How's your day been? Asked Ivan. Not good. I was buying food, but some of it was stolen, replied Rebel. Did you get hurt anywhere? Asked Ivan. No, don't worry, I'm fine, replied Rebel. When it was nighttime, Rebel tucked Ivan in and went to bed. When she was sleeping, she heard weird noises in the apartment. Someone was in the kitchen, but she knew it wasn't Ivan because he was in the same room as her. She quietly woke up Ivan. You have to be quiet, someone is in the apartment, said Rebel. They heard the person coming towards the room. Rebel and Ivan quickly hid in their closet. They thought the person didn't see them, but they did. The person got their baseball bat and started smashing everything in the room. He broke the beds, tore up the blankets, and threw all their things out their window. Then he started walking towards the closet. Rebel got her hands ready to grab him, but when the door opened, they grabbed her before she could, and they were getting ready to throw her out the window. No! Yelled Ivan. Ivan ran to the person and tried stopping him. Don't, Ivan, run! Shouted Rebel. The person threw Ivan to the wall and brought Rebel to the window. He then threw her down and she started to fall. Rebel, no! Shouted Ivan. Rebel hit the ground, but nothing happened to her. What? How am I not hurt? Said Rebel. Rebel ran up back into the apartment, but nobody was there and everything was back to normal. Nothing was broken. Ivan, where are you? Shouted Rebel. Rebel went looking around the apartment, but Ivan was nowhere to be seen. Rebel then went outside and looked around. As she was looking around, she saw Ivan standing on the road. Rebel, I can't move, said Ivan. Don't worry, I'm coming for you, replied Rebel. Rebel was about to run to him, but she felt as if she was sinking into the ground. Just then a car was coming towards Ivan, and Rebel's eyes suddenly shut closed and she couldn't open them. What's going on? I can't see, said Rebel. All she could hear was Ivan calling her name over and over again. His voice slowly started to fade away and she started to hear a voice of a baby crying. Rebel could open her eyes again, and when she did, she found herself in the hospital. Her parents and baby brother were sitting beside her. Mom? Dad? Mumbled Rebel. Rebel, you're awake. We're starting to get really worried, said her father. We rushed her as soon as we could when your friends called us and told us you got hurt playing basketball, said her mother. How long have I been out? Asked Rebel. A few days, replied her mother. Oh my god, that was such a horrible nightmare, said Rebel. It'll take you a little while to recover from that head injury and you'll have a bruise on your head, but other than that, you should be okay, said Rebel's father. That's good, said Rebel. After a little while, Rebel was out of the hospital and she slowly recovered from the bruise on her head and everything went back to normal. She was happy that her nightmare wasn't real and even started playing basketball again.